Thank you very much, Dr. Huluk, for giving us this opportunity to present to you. My name is Ernest Smith. I'm a member of Team B4, and our project is checking account analysis for Sound Credit Union. I'll begin by introducing our team members. Trevor Davier, who is a tech analyst on our team. Archana Gunther, also a tech analyst. Myself, Ernest Smith. I'm a business and market analyst. Mamber Gill, also a market and business analyst. And Nirupa Kolathar, who is a program developer and a market analyst. Our project story. So our project initially began with Assistant Sound Credit Union qualified for CDFI certification. The CDFI program is a federal program that extends grants to banks and financial institutions that provide credit services to disadvantaged and underprivileged people in their respective communities. However, in the third quarter, our project objective changed to assessing the Sound Credit Union's checking accounts and identifying which incentives were most attractive to the millennial demographic. Hence, we pivoted and accommodated this new scope change. This required us to analyze Sound Credit Union's checking accounts, identify in the marketplace through research which incentives were most attractive to this particular demographic. Sound Credit Union saw a potential for growth and expanding its footprint in this sector, and thus we were tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that they could decipher which incentives, which programs were most attractive to this millennial demographic. Our project purpose. So the intention was to identify which accounts, as I mentioned, that people sought in a checking account, directed mainly towards the millennial demographic. Consequently, we had to perform an analysis of Sound Credit Union's checking account structure versus its competition such as BECU and Washington State Employees Credit Union. We also had to create a survey and send it out to respondents to get some feedback, important feedback, to begin to understand and create a cognitive system to identify which features were essential to this particular demographic. We also had to perform some economic analysis of the market to understand the behavior of this demographic, which we integrated into our cognitive chatbot system. So to give you an overview of what's transpired over the last year, in quarter one, we originally had the CDFI certification. We conducted market research and data analytics. In quarter two, we continued this process and we continued to gather intelligence and data, which we stored in our data bank. In quarter three, latter part of quarter three, we had a project scope change, which we adapted quickly to and addressed the new scope, which required us to assist with the millennial demographic and deciphering which incentives were most appealing to them. And then in quarter four, we conducted extensive market surveys, extensive market research and analysis. We also incorporated text mining analytics into our project and built and engineered a chatbot application which we are delivering to our client, which essentially recommends and predicts appropriate solutions based on a client's preferences.
Thank you so much, Ernest, for that warm introduction there. I'll go ahead and I'll be switching gears here and talking about the analytic approaches that we used this quarter as far as our project goes. Starting with the first phase, which is our descriptive analytics approach, we use the Power BI visualization software and scrape the web for different checking accounts and demographic information to see what types of trends we were witnessing, as well as what was currently in the industry as well as the marketplace at that time. From there, we initiated the diagnostic approach of using the same Power BI software, which in turn helped us create the reports as well as dashboards from the data we had collected. We used the information found previously from the open sources and even from Sound to create a set of feature analytics that we broke down into different sectors by demographics, fees, balances, and so on and so forth. During the predictive and prescriptive portions, we started utilizing some of the mock data we had constructed to start playing around in Microsoft Azure Machine Learning Studio to see what type of checking accounts the algorithms came up with based on the feature inputs that we chose. At this stage, we worked with our client representative, both Jen as well as Ryan, part of the marketing team at Sound, to create a market survey analysis to accurately prescribe appropriate accounts to any responder that took the survey. And this essentially formed the foundation for the creation of our chatbot AI program, as well as the word cloud feature that we would use later on. On from that, we have our Azure Machine Learning Studio. In Azure's machine learning environment, we started with the mock data, which we had constructed as a team, and went about the process of cleaning that data and followed it by splitting it into two different types of sets here. We had one that served as the training model and another one that served as a scoring model to evaluate the results that we had. Some of the inputs that you guys can see on the right-hand side are things such as FICO score, zip code, income, account balances, as well as age and occupation. So with this model, we found that the multi-class decision jungle was the best algorithm to use within our data and produce the most accurate results from there. This next slide goes over some brief screenshots that we have of our survey that we worked with alongside of our client representatives. Now, with this survey that we formed, we wanted to form this to kind of get some real world data to bring into our simulation into our machine learning environment. You can see that the survey, based on the different types of questions that we had, ranged from multiple choice questions to having the respondent choose a rating on a scale, or an open-ended question that they could type in their responses freely as well. From the results, we can see that the top three features that most respondents said were things such as higher dividends, online and mobile banking, as well as the rewards program was the top three options that we had. Talking a little bit about the word cloud that we had constructed, after we had put out the survey to the public, which included both of our cohorts and Sound, we first wanted to see about analyzing the results of the open-ended text questions to see what people were saying about their most favorite features and what they would like to see be brought into Sound's current checking account infrastructure. We utilized the survey we had constructed with our client through the uses of Google Forms, I should say, to bring into play the word cloud feature established from Power BI software to create a simple yet effective way to help gauge new opportunities and help Sound connect with their members and potentially new members that they could onboard from there. Now going on to our main cognitive service tool, which is our chatbot AI program that we built based upon the survey we had constructed. Our main purpose or underlying goal when we were creating this chatbot feature was to allow for the member or user to take the survey and from the results they had provided, allow for Sound to have a more practical way to figure out what's the best fit checking account for that particular individual. In relation to the open-ended questions that we had posed, we also wanted the ability to use the predefined survey questions as an extension to better understand our demographic and what background they were coming from. So there could be instances that people from similar backgrounds or household structures or income brackets are commenting similar features that they would like to see in their checking account at Sound Credit Union. We found that this survey, in conjunction with the chatbot functionality, will create a much more personalized experience for the member, since we are tailoring the responses to create a best match fit for their needs as well as their lifestyle when it comes to their finances as well as their banking needs. At this moment in time, I'll hand it over to Trevor, who will go over our demonstration for our live demo.
Thank you for that introduction, Manbir, and welcome to everyone who's watching today's video. Today I'm going to do a quick demonstration of a chatbot that we created in Microsoft Azure. This chatbot has 3 specific questions based on a prospective member for Sound Credit Union, and it'll use those questions. It'll take those questions and go through a decision tree to determine what type of checking account is best for them. Without further ado, let me go ahead and go through these questions a couple of times to see what kind of results we get. The first question is the age category of the prospective member. In this case, let's go ahead and keep it at 18 through 24. Moving on to the next question, what is the personal or household income? In this case, since they're a little bit younger, let's say they make below 25,000. And the last question is, what are the top 2 most important features? In this case, maybe they aren't as interested in higher dividends. They probably don't have as much money saved up, so that's not an important feature to them. Let's say online banking is an important feature, so we'll keep that selected. And let's say rewards are also important to them. So using their debit card will result in rewards. Let's go ahead and hit submit and see what happens. It looks like the chatbot recommended free checking, which is perfect for them. It has great online features as well as a rewards program. Now let's do another example of someone that's maybe 25 through 39 years old. And maybe their income's a little bit higher, let's say between $75,000 and $100,000. In this case, since they're a little bit older and probably have a little bit more money saved up, let's say that they do want higher dividends and maybe online banking is not as important to them. So let's go ahead and select that. And they do like rewards, so we'll keep that the same and we'll submit. And in this case, the API recommended Advantage Checking, which is perfect. It offers dividends and it also has a rewards program. Hopefully you can see how beneficial this could be to Sound Credit Union, or really any business for that matter, in order to help their members or customers. Thank you, and now on to Ernest to go over our closing arguments.
Here I would go over the summary and recommendations for our project. So presently, all surveys have been integrated into the analytical model. We've also created a chatbot application which is being tested, it's being engineered efficiently, and is producing amazing results. Expected results, to be precise. It required a lot of work, a lot of back and forth, retesting, but we are certainly satisfied with the outcome. The model we find requires future adjustments to accommodate changing dynamics, and efficacy testing should be conducted. As is often said, all models are wrong, but some are useful. Considering that, we suggest that it's tested periodically for efficacy and adjusted based on dynamics, changing dynamics to produce efficient outcomes. We also recommend that data for the model is stratified, which is a major requirement, with the appropriate weight designations to generate competent results. This is extremely important due to modifications that may occur that would indicate or suggest that these weight designations are adjusted to accommodate those market changes or environmental changes. We also recommend that our client pay attention to market externalities and consequent mitigating factors when deploying this model for predictive and prescriptive engagement in the future, especially in these times of economic turmoil with COVID-19. There are a lot of rapid changes going on in the market, and this particularly pertains to, for example, the attitudes and preferences of this specific demographic group. It may change based on the current ongoings in the market. Therefore, we highly recommend that users of this model keep that in mind. We would like to say a big thank you to everyone who supported us through the entire year. We appreciate you, Dr. Huluk. We thank you so much for all your effort and your candor and your support. And we are more than happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding our project. Thank you.